This Red Sox-Braves series is brought to you by Jeep, the most awarded SUV lineup ever. And tonight from Atlanta, Georgia, the Red Sox shoot for 3 in a row after shutting out the Braves in the opener last night. As the Red Sox hope to finish the road trip at 4-1, the baseball goes to David Price. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Turner Field. Great to have you along. I'm Dave O'Brien. My partner is Steve Lyons. And, Steve, it is David Price going tonight, trying to get back on the beam after getting roughed up by Tampa Bay his last time out.
Yeah, and his record is 2-0. In fact, he's won 7 straight games dating back to last season. But he's got that huge ERA of up over 7. He knows he hasn't pitched the way he would like to be pitching. This is a guy who there is a little bit of pressure on, but he eats pressure for breakfast. He signed a free agent contract to come to Boston because that's a town where if you play poorly, the entire world knows about it. If you play well, then you can make history, and that's exactly what he wants. He's a guy that eats this stuff up, and he'll be ready to go tonight.
All right, Red Sox trying to go to 4-1 to wrap up this road trip before heading back to Fenway Park for the next 5 games. It's the Red Sox and the Braves from Atlanta. Beautiful night for baseball, and game number 2 is coming up next. BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. By Dunkin' Donuts, America runs on Dunkin'. By Subaru, retailers of New England, supplying award-winning all-wheel drive vehicles throughout New England. By DraftKings, the official one-day fantasy baseball partner of your Boston Red Sox. By the 2017 Kia Sportage. Visit nekiadealers.com to learn more. And by Southwest Airlines, transparency, low fares, and nothing to hide. Well, probably that stop sign is up tonight here at Turner Field for the Atlanta Braves after what they saw Christian Vasquez do to Jace Peterson last night. And it was the footwork, probably even more than the throw, the quick feet of the young catcher. Remember, a couple of years ago, 52% caught stealing. He had to dig this ball out of the dirt, come up and gun, and it was a tremendous throw to cut down Peterson. But just look at those feet and everything that had to go right for him to execute a terrific throw. His first caught stealing since coming back from Tommy John. And for more on that, let's go to Garen Austin.
Thanks, OB. Well, Christian Vasquez has not missed a beat in his return from Tommy John surgery, but last night here in Atlanta marked another milestone in his recovery process, throwing out a runner at second base.
Yeah, I came so long to, yesterday to throw somebody on second base. Last year I don't play none, so it was awesome, great moment for me. Yeah, I feel great. That's the biggest test to me. Throw somebody on second base after a year. So I'm feeling awesome. My arm is good, so it's there.
Sox Phillies at about 95%. That's kind of scary for the rest of baseball after the throw we saw last night. It's the Braves and the Red Sox coming up from Turner Field in just a moment. Quality Scion vehicles by Toyota. By Digital Federal Credit Union. See what DCU can save you. By T-Mobile. Get Major League coverage. T-Mobile has doubled its 4G LTE in the last year. And by buyatoyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. Another beautiful night here in the South at Turner Field, Atlanta, Georgia. Game number 2, but they're going to be seeing each other 4 consecutive games, these two clubs. Red Sox lineup brought to you by buyatoyota.com. Toyota's website for deals. It'll be Mookie Betts, followed by Dustin Pedroia and Xander Bogaerts. Travis Shaw at third base. Hanley Ramirez back in at first. It'll be Jackie Bradley in center field. He's been a hero 2 nights running. Brock Holt in left. Christian Vasquez catching. And David Price, who likes to swing the bat, is pitching and batting ninth. Up against Matt Whistler. He is 0-1, an ERA of 3.10. The Braves very high on this young right-hander, who was 8-8 last season.
Well, let's talk about the Braves defense as they line up out there around the infield. Garcia at third. A lot of people think he should be in left field. Ibar, the shortstop. Castro at second base tonight. Freddie Freeman over at first. And in the outfield, Frenchie Francoeur in left. Drew Stubbs in center. And Nick Markakis in right field. Your battery for today, Flowers and Whistler.
Tonight's umpires are brought to you by ToyotaCertified.com. Joe West with the balls and strikes. He's been around for 40 years. Kerwin Danley at first, Andy Fletcher at second, and Mark Ripperger is the umpire at third base. Where available, this telecast can be heard in Spanish by selecting the SAP button on your television remote. SAP presented by ToyotaCertified.com. Search for your factory-backed Toyota Certified used vehicle right now. It's good to know the factory has your back. And tonight's weather brought to you by Benjamin Moore, the official paint of the Boston Red Sox. And Steve, it's just about perfect.
This is aquarium weather. No wind. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. It just perfectly sits there.
I don't think this will be the case when we get back home to Fenway. I think we're going to lose about 30 degrees, but we're headed back home.
And I'll be gaining my long johns again for the pre and post game show under my suit.
Mookie Betts to lead things off against Whistler. He'll start the night hitting .273 with 4 home runs. Red Sox have gone 21-7 against the Braves since May of '05. And we're underway, ball 1.
Whistler's a guy who can throw 90 to 95 with good late life on that fastball. like that.
1 ball and 1 strike on Mookie. Native of Ohio, Whistler with a good pitcher's build, 6'3", 190. He is 23 years old. They think he could be a star in their rotation, as that one misses.
I talked to Tyler Flowers before the ball game today, and he said if it's a good day for Whistler, I'll be blocking a lot of balls. Loves to get ahead in the count and then bury that breaking ball in the dirt.
Popped him up. Ibar, the shortstop, on the dirt. So 1 man gone here in the first inning for the Red Sox. And they'll send up Dustin Pedroia. Sox coming in at 10-9. And are about to come home for 5 games. 2 of this Atlanta team, and then our first meeting with the Yankees. And the Sox will go on the road for 6 and then return to Fenway for 13 of the next 16 games.
Against a very favorable part of the schedule. You know, sometimes when you look at the way the division shakes out at the end of the season and teams will win the division by 1 or 2 games, sometimes it's the schedule maker that helps you. You play against teams when they're not going all that well. This is a great time to be playing the Braves. Who knows if they'll get better or worse. It was a good time to go down and play Houston, not only weather-wise, but also they weren't playing their best baseball. They will get better.
Fouled back by Pedroia. Petey last night 0 for 3 with a walk. But still, over his last 5 games, 10 for 25. You make a very interesting point, too, because I think you can pull any month out of a major league team schedule and say, well, that's very, very important, until they're eliminated, obviously. But for the Red Sox, this seems to be a crucial span coming up of, say, 28 games. Off the outside on Pedroia, with 18 of those coming at Fenway. So there's a lot of home games there, and many against clubs who are at 500 or below. So it's a great chance to gain a foothold and not miss that opportunity to build some wins. Really vital. Inside at the hands.
And it's a great chance for this team to finally start to develop a dominance at Fenway Park, of which they have not been able to do yet.
Especially at a time when, you know, Eduardo Rodriguez and Carson Smith are getting closer to returning, to strengthening the pitching staff. Breaking ball, and that missed. So he walked him, and Dustin Pedroia is quickly aboard here with 1 down in the first inning.
It'll be interesting to see the guys on the base pass today. Whistler's very quick to the plate, but Tyler Flowers is not known as a great catch and throw guy. So any guy with speed on the Red Sox, I would think they would take advantage today, or at least try.
Xander Bogaerts to climb in, his first look at Whistler. Xander was 1 for 4 with a stolen base last night. And the Red Sox 1-0 victory. Got terrific pitching once again out of Rick Porcello, who's now 4-0. Greg Kimbrell locked it up, save number 6. 6 1/3 for Rick.
Oh, that was a good one.
At a time when the Red Sox flat needed a long outing, he delivered yet again. There's a base hit to right field. Pedroia takes off. He's into second. He'll stop there. Markakis does have a good arm. And the Red Sox have runners at first and second for Travis Shaw.
Xander doing exactly what established himself as an excellent hitter last season. Driving the ball the other way. Let it travel into the zone. And don't serve it to right field. Shoot it over there. And that's what he's doing.
Now has a 6-game hitting streak. He is 10 for his last 21. 2 on for Shaw, who steps in with the number 7 batting average in the American League. Batting out of the cleanup spot. It's the second night in a row that David Ortiz is sitting here in this National League ballpark. He starts him with a soft breaking ball over the inside corner.
Don't anticipate any movement from the runners now, with Shaw at the plate being a left-handed hitter. They would bring up the possibility of stolen bases. I think most people around the game understand that generally when you steal a base, you steal it off the pitcher and how quick or slow he is to the plate. Today, if they steal bases, it'll have to be on the catcher. Whistler is very quick to the plate.
The 1-1 to Shaw. Taking inside under the elbows.
Sometimes it's unfair to talk about throwout percentages from certain catchers when they don't have a staff that holds runners well. And the catcher's like, what do you want me to do? I can't throw out everybody if I don't ever get the ball.
Red Sox have been running the bases particularly well in terms of steals. Here's a high deep drive. Man, did he crush it way down the line. Look at this one. Gone. A 3-run blast. Boy, I'm not so sure that isn't the best swing I've ever seen from him. He just tattooed it, and the Red Sox in a heartbeat are on top 3-0.
He came up last year and hit 13 home runs and just over a couple hundred at bats. It's a little bit of worry that he hadn't showed off the power yet until right there. That's an inside fastball. You do not throw a lefty middle in thigh high because that is tattooed.
But very nearly went right down one of those tunnels at the 135 mark out there. His second home run of the season. Speedway proud to be New England's first choice for value and convenience for every Sox homer. Speedway donates $500 to Boston Children's Hospital. Stop by a Speedway store near you and pick up your Speedway rewards card and start earning points today. Goodness gracious.
And don't look now, but the Red Sox have scored 3 more runs in the first inning again.
Yes.
Getting off to great starts certainly doesn't hurt.
Jackie Bradley had some swing last night in the 7th inning. I talked to Jackie about his home run. He wasn't sure it was gone. There's a high fly ball in right center toward the alley. Markakis moving over, and he'll make the catch. With Stubbs sliding right in front of him, and that is out number 2. And David Ortiz is cheerleader number 1 for Travis Shaw. This goes back to last year when he told him, if you go into the winter and work your hardest and you work as if you're going to be an everyday player, it's going to happen for you.
And you know, that's exactly the attitude he came back to spring with. You know, everyone was saying, look, there's no place for you to play, and he just kept saying, I am here to try to win a starting job somehow, some way, and he did it.
Jackie Bradley, last night's star offensively in a game that had precious little offense. His 7th inning home run was the difference in the game as the Red Sox won 1-0. He'll take one in there for a called strike. Back to last night.
You know, here's one of the reasons why he didn't know it was gone, because that's just a smooth, easy swing, and the ball jumped the yard here. He gets it into about the 8th, 9th row back there.
I said, Jackie, from upstairs where we sit, we knew it immediately. He said, well, that's good to know. He said, you know, for me, I wasn't taking anything for granted, and you could see him shoot right out of the box. Yep. He was running hard. 1-2 hammered foul. These cold hard facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. And with his home run in the top of the 7th last night, Jackie became the first Red Sox player to homer in the 7th inning or later of a 1-0 win since Dwight Evans did it in 1990. It was enough. Yeah. That one looped toward right field down the line, but foul. That was Jackie's first of the season.
Well, I think that a lot of people have come to realize that when Jackie goes poorly at the plate, it's when he gets a little bit big, when he tries to maybe hit the ball out of the park. He's not a big guy. Jim Rice talks about it all the time. If he is short and quick to the ball, he has enough power to hit the gaps and hit the ball out of the ballpark. But when he gets big, like almost every hitter, you get slower when you try to really launch. Everything slows down on you.
Sox had not homered in 3 games, and now it's 2 in a row they have. Conversely, the Atlanta Braves have now gone 14 consecutive games without a home run.
That's painful.
So Freddie's sitting there going, Freddie Gonzalez going, well, that's what that looks like.
Yeah.
What Travis Shaw just did. Now I remember. That hits it. Jackie Bradley takes a seat in the batter's box as he gets plunked.
Sounded like a foul ball off his leg.
It really did. He's okay.
Ouch, inside of the knee.
He got right up and romped to first base. And Roger McDowell will pay a mound visit here. And, you know, the guy who got this going was certainly Dustin Pedroia, as he took ball 4.
Yep. Listen to Jackie get hit by the pitch. Ouch. Jackie got up and ran down to first base like a mosquito landed on him or something. Like it was no big deal.
Let's see if he takes off here. It's often the best revenge. Brock Holt gets in, hitting .275 with 2 homers. Red Sox ahead 3-0 on an absolute shot by Travis Shaw. And that's across for a strike.
I love it when base stealers do that. I used to have that attitude in the minor leagues. Once I got to the big leagues, I didn't quite have that kind of speed. But if you hit me, I'm stealing second. You hit me, it's going to cost you 2. And then someone else might drive me in. Let's see what Jackie does.
A fairly short lead here, but I think Whistler's thinking the same thing. There's something about a left-handed power swing. We saw it with Jackie last night. We just saw it with Travis Shaw. It's a thing of beauty.
It does look different than a right-handed swing, doesn't it?
The 0-1. Oak foul in the air down the line. I mean, start with the great left-hand hitters of all time. Guys like Ted Williams. When they hit it like that with that perfect follow-through, I don't know why it's different, but it just looks different.
And I know his career has been tarnished, but Rafael Palmeiro's big looping pretty swing that produced more than 500 homers.
David
Ortiz. Will Clark. You know, my thought on that has always been that right-handed hitters generally have more top hand in their swing, so they're throwing the bat through the zone. And left-handed hitters generally have more bottom hand, and they're pulling it through the zone, and it gives it a prettier arc through the zone.
I think Darryl Strawberry.
Oh yeah,
goodness. 0-2. Softly hit, loop to center, charging in Stubbs. He dives, he can't get it. Jackie Bradley heading to third. It comes free. He's going to try and score. Here's the throw to the plate. It's offline, and another run is in. And Brock Holt's down to second, and the Red Sox lead it 4-0. Jackie Bradley, after getting hit by the pitch, a little revenge as he comes on to score.
Yeah. You know, when JBJ gets it going, if you can get him rounding the bases and there's any little mishap or if a ball gets in a gap, he's going to keep going. Brock Holt continues to produce. Drew Stubbs with good wheels, but he couldn't catch up. Right now, Jackie knows he's scoring. Look at that. That's an excellent turnaround third base. Keep going.
Vasquez will be put on here with David Price, the pitcher, coming up, and they'll pitch to David instead. But that means that Whistler will face at least 9 Red Sox here in the first inning.
I would think they would score that play for Brock Holt a double.
I did double all the way in an RBI.
Yeah.
And by the way, 13 RBIs for Brock. So Vasquez will be intentionally passed here to put runners at first and second, 2 down. Now David Price, and look out here, because in batting practice anyway, and trust me when I tell you this, because no one comes out to see a pitcher take batting practice. No one shows up for that. But he really loves to swing the bat in BP.
Well, he says, I like to find my way into hitters groups and take BP, even though I know I'm in the American League. Just throughout the season, I like to go out and take my hacks.
By the way, the tail of the tape on the home run by Travis Shaw, 418 feet.
Whew.
Price, a lefty hitter, of course, very upright stance. He is 2 for 37, but he'll tell you, in batting practice, he's hit a ball onto Utah Street in Baltimore at Camden Yards. Now, he said it went through the gate.
It rolled onto Utah.
He got there. And Whistler with an 0-1. Ooh, takes a cut.
He's looking hitterish. There's a guy with a lot of top hand in the swing, even though he's a left-handed hitter.
Holt at second, Vasquez at first, and 4 runs in for the Red Sox here in the first. And a long inning for the 23-year-old from Ohio.
He has been one of their best starters here, even though the numbers don't back him up. He's had an opponent's batting average of $195 coming into this start. That'll go up.
Here's the 1-2. And in there for a called strike, says Joe West for strike 3. But the Red Sox had 9 to bat. 4 of them score, and 3 of them on this gorgeous swing from Travis Shaw that went almost 420 feet. The exit velocity was 109 miles an hour on Shaw's home run, by the way. The Braves lineup is brought to you by your New England Chevy dealers. It'll be Nick Markakis to lead it off. Then Daniel Castro, Adonis Garcia at third, Freddie Freeman at first, Jeff Francoeur followed by Tyler Flowers. Drew Stubbs in center, Eric Ibar at short, and Whistler is the pitcher. He's batting ninth and already down 4-0. The Red Sox starting pitcher, presented by your New England Audi dealers. David Price 2-0 coming in. High ERA 7.06. He can go to 3-0, but realizes he's fortunate not to have a loss already because he allowed that career high 8 earned runs in his last start against Tampa Bay.
Red Sox bailed him out of that game, actually tied it up 8-8 before they went on to lose that afternoon against Tampa Bay in a crazy ball game.
Roller coaster game. He only lasted 3 2/3. So Nick Markakis will lead things off, and run support all ready for the left-hander. Markakis 294, no homers. He's driven in 14 runs. He's been one of the few bright spots for their lineup. He flies that one to left, but a routine play for Brock Holt, and puts it away for the first out.
Well, let's talk a little defense. Speaking of Brock Holt out there in the outfield, there's Travis Shaw playing third base tonight. He's bounced around the infield back and forth. Bogart's at short. Beatty at his natural position in second base, and Hanley Ramirez taking over at first today. There's Brock Holt out in left field after making that nice play. JBJ in center, and Mookie Betts at right. Vasquez doing the catching today with David Price on the hill.
Daniel Castro, their second baseman. He was 0 for 4 in game 1. Atlanta coming in with a record of 4-15. They have lost 6 in a row. The indications are it could be a very long summer here. Lined into right, Betts practically in his tracks. Mookie makes the grab, and that's 2 fast outs.
Castro had hit safely in every game he had played in since his recall from the minor leagues. Well, when you were looking at Freddie Gonzalez sitting on the bench after Shaw's home run saying, oh my gosh, that's what it looks like. They've only hit 3 all year. Forget that they've gone 14 without hitting one.
Garcia has 1. Adonis Garcia. He looks at ball 1.
If you weren't with us last night when we talked about this a lot, Garcia and Freddie Freeman both hit one on opening day. They've had 1 home run for the entire team since then.
We take a look at these rocket arms presented by Quicken Loans. Strikeout leaders entering tonight in the American League. Archer leads the pack, but there are 2 Red Sox there. Number 3 and number 4, Price, and now Porcello. Softly hit, line shot into center field. That'll be a base hit, so Garcia is on. We have 2 down in front of Freddie Freeman.
It's a good piece of hitting right there, because that was really a pretty nice pitch out of David Price. Down and away, took some off. Garcia hung in there and drove it right back up the middle.
Freeman back up to the cleanup spot. They had dropped him down to the 6th hole yesterday. The lowest he had been hitting in their lineup in several years. And he wound up with 2 hits, one of those a bunt hit. He is 1 for 5 against Price in his career. There's a looper into left field for a base hit. That'll move Garcia up to second base. So back-to-back singles. And Frank Gore is next.
Freddie Freeman working hard. He has not been hitting the ball well. He said, I need to stay in my crouch, and I got to get my front foot down early. Look how quickly it's down. Even before he's ready to swing, he's already strided right there, and then just drives that ball to left. He looked good on that one.
Frank Gore hitting right at 300. No homers and 3 runs batted in. He's 3 for 6 against the Red Sox left-hander in his career. Boston ahead 4-0 in the first inning. I think the odd thing about Price's last start was that he said afterwards he felt so good. He said, that's the most disappointing thing, to feel as good as I felt. I want to be able to go out there and get the results I expect, and it just didn't happen. A very strange outing.
One of the things that this Braves team did in the offseason was bringing a guy like Frank Gore back to be a right-handed threat against left-handed pitching. Both he and Drew Stubbs are the guys they brought in.
For Frank Gore, first time in 8 years he's come back home. There's a line shot into right center field. That'll drop down for a base hit. Here comes Garcia rounding third. The throw back to the infield. He will score. That's 3 consecutive singles with 2 down. And the Braves are on the board. That makes it 4-1.
This inning started off nicely, and now base hit after base hit after base hit. That pitch is down, but catches way too much in the zone for Frank Gore.
So he's now 4 for 7 against Price. First and second. Tyler Flowers doing the catching. He'll climb in, hitting 346. And a big guy at 6'4", 240. Spent the previous 7 years with the White Sox. And in there for strike one, says Joe West.
Used to be a member of the Braves, went away, and he came back as well. A lot of these guys can't get away. Frank Gore, Flowers.
The 0-1 pitch. This guy has some pop as he takes one inside for a ball. Hit 15 homers for Chicago 2 years ago. He's born close to Atlanta, Roswell, Georgia.
He's hitting .360 as a starter.
1-1. Can't get him to chase it. Not a called strike, although I think he wanted that one.
So did Vasquez. Little backdoor breaking ball right there. Must have gone around the plate, in the opinion of Country Joe West.
The 2-1. Got a piece of it.
Played in a golf tournament one time with Joe West, and he took second place in the golf tournament. They gave him this big plaque, and I asked him what he was going to do with it. He said, "I'm going to make a belt buckle out of it."
That would have been my first guess with Joe. Now 40 years in the big leagues. I remember him well from the 2004 American League Championship Series. Red Sox and the Yankees made a couple of huge calls in the Sox favor. I think every Red Sox fan in Red Sox Nation should remember that. I'm sure they do. Remember the A-Rod slap play on Arroyo? Punch foul out of play to the right.
Which was the right call.
Oh, he got both calls right. And they were instrumental.
There's a lot of guys around the league that will tell you that they don't necessarily think he does get all the right calls right all the time. He's been around 40 years. You're going to miss a few every now and then. I tell you what, I'm still a huge fan of the umpires, even with replay, and we've seen a lot of calls get overturned. I just think they are the best in the world at what they do.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 on, and a run in here for Atlanta. 4-1 Red Sox in the first. And inside. Bit of a scuffle here for Price. He's gone to 3-2.
After 2 very quick outs. In off the plate, under the hands.
A long look into Vasquez here. And now Christian wants to visit the mound.
I'll tell you, over the last couple starts with Vasquez and Price, although Price gives Vasquez a huge amount of credit, talks about how talented he is back there, they have not really been on the same page that often. A lot of shaking off, a lot of mound visits.
3-man at second base, Francoeur at first base. Price trying to wriggle free here. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. Runners go. That's fouled back to the screen.
Once again, a pretty good hitting location of that pitch. I like the idea, though. A lot of confusion. There's a mound visit. Vasquez comes back. He doesn't even flash a sign. He just says, "Let's go." And then Price throws a fastball. In the hitter's mind, you're thinking, "Oh, what's he throwing?" There's way too much discussion here.
Here comes pitch number 8 of this at bat for Flowers. Runners take off again, and that'll be down low for ball 4. So that's going to load up the bases. 4 consecutive batters have reached after there were 2 down. And now no place to put Drew Stubbs.
I think David Price, and the way he pitches, you really need the bottom of the strike zone. I didn't see the pitch tracks on that, but it was definitely at the bottom of the strike zone. David Price needs that pitch to be a strike.
Stubbs a .222 hitter. He has one of their rare home runs, and he is 3 for 6 against David Price in his career. He's the 7th Atlanta Brave to bat in the first inning. 0-1.
Pitches in the inning.
Bryce 2-1 with a 1.89 career ERA against Atlanta. He's had a lot of strikeouts against the Braves. Wants another one right here, and he's off to a good start. Now 0-2 on Stubbs. Bases loaded. Freeman third base. Francoeur at second. Flowers at first. And the 0-2 pitch. He overthrew that one. Fastball still only about 92.
Now we're not seeing the mid to over mid 90s out of Price at all this season. I think the highest I've seen out of him is 94. And he hasn't lived there.
Trying to finish off Stubbs. And he did. He foul tipped it into the mid for strike 3, so they leave him loaded. They do get one, and it's 4-1 Sox after 1. Turner Field. And a great ovation for Big Papi. They played some of the highlights of his illustrious career up on the big board. And some of what they showed to the crowd here, and so many Red Sox fans, as we've talked about. We seem to talk about wherever we go.
A really nice ovation, mostly from Red Sox fans, I think.
Well, the Braves fans were on their feet as well. Sure. Nice salute. And a curtain call. David not in the lineup tonight, but available to pinch hit. He did pinch hit last night. We are on to the second inning. It was a long first inning. Sox in front 4-1. Mookie Betts batting for the second time already. Popped out to short to start the night. He was 1 for 4 with a double last night. Line shot, a slicer. Stubbs on the move. Will get there.
Well, that was a really nice video tribute to David Ortiz, but for some reason it leaves me yearning for a Stetson.
After Houston. It's a beautiful hat. Well, he does have something to take back home after this road trip, and Red Sox would like 4 wins more than anything else and have an opportunity to be 4-1 with a victory tonight off to a great start.
Sure. It's last trip in for David here. It's obviously special for these fans to get to see him one more time. He's really not played a lot of games down here, but has done a lot of damage in this stadium when he is here.
Dustin Pedroia with a high pop-up. Catcher Flowers called off by Garcia, who will make the catch in fair territory. 2 up and 2 down. Red Sox season ticket holders experience the best seats, price, and benefits Fenway has to offer. For information on becoming a season ticket holder, Please visit redsox.com/season tickets or call 877 Red Sox 9 today. The nation very well represented here in Atlanta. Xander Bogaerts now. He was on base when Travis Shaw launched a 418-foot blast for a 3-run homer in the first inning. Xander hit single, and he's now hit safely in 6 in a row. And another one up the middle for a base hit, so he's 2 for 2. His legs are also feeling really good because last night he stole his 3rd base of the season. That's something Xander didn't do last year until June 2nd.
Every aspect of his game continues to get better and better with each year.
Now this is always fascinating. The next at bat, after a guy hits one into the next county off the same pitcher, just how careful, just how cautious Whistler may be here.
You think he'd try a different approach, but it's amazing how often the hitter will see the same type of pitches. He's thinking about this ball right here. Hit so far that he hit it over the head of anybody in the stands. He hit it to a place in the stands where nobody's sitting. You know you crushed one when that happens.
The longest home run ever hit in this ballpark was by Sammy Sosa. 471 feet. Two down, a runner at first base. Red Sox ahead 4-1. There goes the runner. That's a strike. Here's the throw, and not going to get him. Another stolen base. That is number 4 for Xander Bogaerts. Boy, he really looks determined on the bases here in 2016.
Good speed. Remember, we said he'd have to steal it on the catcher. Watch it how long it takes Flowers to get up out of that crouch, move his feet to the right, and then get that throw off. That's a lot of body to move. It's not like he's slow back there. He's just not Vasquez quick.
Sox are now 17 for 19 stealing bases. So, I mean, in his first 2 bats, Travis Shaw could drive in 4 runs. If he hits another home run, it's going to be 5 in his first 2 trips.
And just like we were talking about, that pitch right there was a good pitch for him to hit.
Two down. Xander Bogaerts leading at second. One and two. Well, the 3 RBIs already ties a career high for Shaw. So plenty of opportunity tonight. Only in the 2nd inning to top that. You can do it right now. Into the dirt, that pitch. There goes Bogaerts on to third, but scooped up now to throw to first for the strikeout and out number 3. So that retires the side. 1 man left. 4-1 Red Sox. Bottom of the second, and David Price with a 4-1 lead. A rocky opening frame for the ace, however. He allowed 3 hits and walked a batter. Got out of a bases loaded 2-out situation by striking out Drew Stubbs. So now it's Ibar, Whistler the pitcher, and then Markakis. Routine ground ball to Bogarts, who staggers a bit but throws him out. 1 man away. Time now for our Dunkin' Donuts poll question. Should the National League adopt the designated hitter? Text 1 for yes, text 2 for no. Text your answer to 536-536. Message and data rates may apply. And Steve, which way are you going on this one?
I know there's been a lot of talk about it, and I personally would say no. How about you?
I like it the way it is. I like it exactly the way it is. And I know it causes some headaches in postseason play and occasionally in interleague play. These fans, for example, have not seen too much of David Ortiz because of that. However, I like the idea that each league's a little bit different.
I think 2 guys sitting at a bar talking baseball, it is the greatest argument that they will have about the game of baseball, and I like the fact that it keeps people talking about it.
So I'm looking forward to seeing the results of that poll question tonight. Here's Whistler, the pitcher. 167, no home runs and no runs batted in.
I worked in the National League for 10 years with the Dodgers, and it was painful to watch the National League hitters come up and try to hit. A guy like Kershaw can actually swing the bat. Baumgartner, there's a few of them, but most of them are inept, and it's an easy out. But that is part of the National League style.
Cut out and miss for strike 3. I like it. I know that when it comes to postseason play, it causes managers to break out into hives. You know, when they have to do
earn your paycheck.
Earn your paycheck is right. In that time of the year. But and you know, and in games like this and in series like this, I realize a lot of fans want to see, you know, the heavy hitters, and David's got to play first base if that's going to happen.
Well, I think for interleague play, what they really should do if they're going to continue on, because I know there's some complaints about that at this point too, is that they should reverse it. When you are in a National League city in interleague play, that's when you should use the DH. And when you're in an American League city in interleague play, the pitcher should hit. It's the opposite of what those fans generally see.
Price trying to bounce back here and have a 1-2-3 inning. A liner slice foul down the line by Nick Markakis, who is 0 for 1. He's had a lot of at-bats against David Price in his career. 14 for 51. And a 275 average, so he's done better than most against the Sox left-hander. Two down on the 0-2 pitch.
Most guys, when they have their bats in the bat rack, they only see the knob of their bat, so they usually write their name or their nickname on it. Markakis has no chance of writing his entire name on the knob of his bat. So it just says Cakes. K-A-K-E-S.
And that'll be in there for strike 3. He'll go and find that bat rack right now. 2 Ks in the inning for Price. 4-1 Red Sox. Sir Paul McCartney returns to Fenway on Sunday, July 17th. All part of the Plain Ridge Park Casino Fenway Concert Series. Dozens of classic songs spanning the entire Paul McCartney playlist. Tickets go on sale on Friday, May 6th at 10 a.m. RedSox.com/Paul McCartney. And a high pop up here and back out of play by Hanley Ramirez to get the third inning underway.
And from what I understand, you and Jerry Remy are actually going to have dinner with Sir Paul before the concert.
Is that what it's gotten to now? We're dining with Sir Paul now?
That's what I've been hearing.
I think we're going to get into the show, Rem Dog and I, because we're both huge fans. Jerry will be back tomorrow on the broadcast at Fenway.
A couple appetizers, you know.
Like the way you think. Swing and a miss by Hanley. 0 for 1 with a fly to right field. Did not play last night. Kind of due to hit another one out. He hasn't hit one since April 12th against Baltimore. Red Sox in the lead 4-1 here in the third inning. Travis Shaw just destroyed a 3-run homer in the first inning. The 0-2 down into the dirt, but he didn't chase.
Well, after the month of April that Hanley had last season, where he had 10 homers. Of course, they got a little bit injured and went on to have, like, I think 1 or none in the month of May. I think Red Sox fans would like to see the ball sail out of the yard a little more often with Hanley, but I think that'll come. And I think he's been an excellent spoke in the wheel of this offense so far this year.
He has 15 career home runs against the Braves. And a breaking ball frozen there, in there for strike 3. Let's get down to Garrett Austin.
Hey, thanks, OB. Carson Smith was not able to start his rehab assignment due to the rain out in Pawtucket. He did some work indoors today, and they will look to get him in back-to-back games on Friday and Saturday. Also, Eduardo Rodriguez will start for Pawtucket on Thursday, and Joe Kelly initiated a throwing program. He's throwing out to about 90 feet, but no date on when they can get him back on the mound. And Pablo Sandoval is scheduled to meet with Dr. Andrews on Monday to get a second opinion on that shoulder. And OB Steve, John Farrell said that it is realistic that Carson Smith could join the team in Chicago.
That's very good news. If in fact that comes to pass, thanks, Karen. First time I had heard that, the possibility of Chicago, as Jackie Bradley grounds out to short, 2 away. That's encouraging.
Yeah, obviously they got to get him some appearances, and they're trying to do that. The rain didn't help today.
2 down in the third, and Brock Holt will climb in. He doubled in a run his first time up. Stubbs tried to make a sprawling catch in the outfield, but did not come up with it. Jackie Bradley scored all the way from first base. Red Sox got 4 in the first inning. They like the first inning.
Yes, they do. And COB, that's why Guerin's digging around down there, trying to find out information that you did not know.
How about that? And neither did you.
Oh, I did.
Pounding ball softly hit. Castro will dig that out, and the Red Sox will go 1-2-3 here in the third. And the Red Sox on top 4-1 in Atlanta. Houston. Extra innings live right after the game. TC and Tim Wakefield break down tonight's game. You'll hear from David Price and John Farrell. Whatever, whenever, wherever, who but W.B. Mason. Price has struck out 3 out of the last 4 Atlanta Braves who have faced him. And here's Castro taking a ball low. He lined to right in the first inning. 23-year-old from Mexico hitting right at 300. Hot shot on one bounce to Pedroia, and he sets him down. DraftKings is the official one-day fantasy baseball partner of the Boston Red Sox. Experience the thrill of playing on DraftKings right now. Play free daily by using promo code NESSON at DraftKings.com.
Nobody ever said this game was fair. I mean, Castro has hit 2 balls right on the screws and come up empty both times. Bullets.
Garcia has a base hit and came around to score their first run. How about the story last night out of Detroit? Tyler Collins had a message for Tiger fans at Comerica Park last night. A salute to those who booed him after a fly ball dropped into the outfield. He had lost it in the lights. If you missed it, you can use your imagination as far as what that salute was. But Major League Baseball says it will review the gesture and determine if he will be suspended. Remember, they suspended Jonathan Papelbon a couple of years ago for a gesture. 7 games while he was a Philly.
Jack McDowell when he was with the New York Yankees. But it's a little different in New York. That single finger salute in New York kind of just means hello, doesn't it?
But Collins did apologize profusely afterwards. He said, "I'm absolutely embarrassed and I'm very sorry to everyone in Detroit." And a swing and a miss. Down he goes on the tag. Garcia strikes out. And they're 2 away.
Well, this has been an effective pitch down in the zone for Price. Obviously, that's out of the strike zone. But as we talked before, he needs the bottom half of that strike zone in order to be an effective pitcher.
He has struck out 4. Gaining some steam here. Now comes Freddie Freeman, who looped a single to left field his first trip. He's 1 for 1.
Well, at least Collins is remorseful. I mean, it's an odd business. You play in front of a lot of people that are cheering for you, but you also play in front of a lot of people that say some pretty nasty things to you. And as the professional athlete, you are supposed to be able to keep your cool, listen to everything that they have to say, and not respond back. It's a difficult thing to do sometimes, and he lost it.
We'll see if there are repercussions. Here the Sox are in front 4-1 in the bottom of the 3rd inning with nobody on base for Atlanta. That drifted outside. That was 94 on the gun, so he's starting to ramp up that velocity a little bit. With power pitchers, sometimes it takes a little while, you know, into the month of May. John Farrell has talked about this.
Build the arm strength.
The next phase of arm strength. That's right. And he thinks that's what's going on with Price right now, and was part of what went wrong in his last start when he gave up the 8 earned runs.
Yep. Once you gain the extra velocity, also for Price, and I think we've seen a lot of it if you're sitting at home watching these games, he has been in the middle of the plate a little more often than we've seen in the past out of him. That's outstanding.
That was pretty nasty, and he strikes out Freddie Freeman. He gets a 1-2-3 for the 2nd straight inning. Time now for the Geico Red Sox moment honoring the '86 Red Sox in their 20th game of the year. Brother, you were on a tear. The Red Sox beat the Mariners 12-2. Steve, you went 3 for 4 with a triple, 2 RBIs, and you scored twice.
Well, it's those runs scored. That's what makes the big difference in ball games like that.
Wade Boggs also went 3 for 5.
Of course he did.
Wade Boggs, Hall of Famer, 3,000 hits, also went 3 for 5.
When didn't he get 3 hits?
Well, true enough.
Fell out of bed and got 3
You were
hits.
hot. I mean, we're running these every night now, and you were just cooking.
Getting on fire. You know, playing against those teams that I like to play against. Had a chance.
Vasquez with a ground at an Ibar. He throws on to get him. 1 away in the 4th inning. Red Sox ahead 4-1 here in Atlanta, trying to make it 2 for 2, and then we'll see the Braves twice more at Fenway the next couple of nights.
Good. I mean, let's face it, this Braves team right now is not a very good ball club. And you know, we talked about the schedule and when you face teams, seeing them 2 more days over the next 2 days would be a good thing for this Red Sox club.
And the Sox get a look at the Yankees for the first time, starting on Friday night at Fenway. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Before you know it, we'll be into the month of May. David Price 0 for 1. He struck out in the first.
And maybe I won't have to wear my long johns every night.
I wouldn't count on it yet. It's supposed to be pretty chilly.
Well, I remember playing in Boston. My birthday is in early June, and I remember almost always, especially if you're not playing that much, sitting on the bench until my birthday every season wearing a jacket, being cold at night. And then one season I played down here in Atlanta, and on opening day it was 85 degrees, and I looked at all my teammates then and said, no wonder you guys hit 300. We're freezing our tails off up in the Northeast for the first 2 months of the season.
The 2-1 from Whistler, and that'll dip down low, so a long at bat if nothing else for Price. He's extended this guy to 3 balls and 1 strike.
Is he going to swing here? Is he just going to air it out?
Now they walked him, so Price is on. Has all of 2 major league hits, but he works Whistler.
His on base percentage just went up.
Fans with Benjamin Moore, you can paint like no other. Go to benjaminmoore.com to find your nearest retailer. Top of the order now, Mookie Betts. Mookie's 0 for 2. He's popped to short and lined out hard to center. He has hit safely in 6 consecutive games. Over that time span, Mookie has scored 10 runs. He's number 4 in the American League in runs scored. So the Red Sox trying to add on here, ahead 4-1 in the 4th.
It's amazing now with Mookie. Look at the way they play in the outfield. Look at the center fielder shading into right center field. Mookie's gone that way a lot, but I would have thought most people would think Mookie was a pull hitter. We've seen on this road trip him drive the ball into that right center field gap a lot. Hence the defense is starting to play into that. I want to see him pull one into that left center field gap now and run forever.
Against Atlanta, the Braves will tell you everything he hits falls in. He hit .529 against them last year. The 1-1. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Well, maybe Freddie Gonzalez will get onto the top step of the dugout and yell at him.
Like A.J. Hinch did in Houston.
Not everything's going to drop in for
Not
you.
everything will drop in, Mookie. Very good naturedly.
Everything was dropping in.
Yeah. 2-1. Popped up, looped toward right. That
Sit
one
down.
might fall, and it's going to be bobbled. Oh, he hold on to it. Made a tremendous play, thrown to first, and that is going to be a double play. Castro with a wonderful play out there. It was in the glove, it was out of the glove. He bobbled it, he hung on for the twin killing. Play of the night in Major League Baseball. Watch Daniel Castro go to the outfield. It's in the glove, out of the glove, and then he reaches back and he bare hands it before it touches the grass.
Great jump, went a long way to get it, and then make the circus catch there to take a hit away from Mookie. That kid's a scrapper. I like what I've seen out of him. And this team, we talked a lot about it. He needed some help. He's saying, let's go, let's double him off.
So on to the last half of the fourth inning. Red Sox ahead 4-1. And here's Frank Core, who has an RBI single off of Price in the first inning. Price is set down 7 in a row, however. He seems to be getting into a groove finally.
You look at the Braves and what they're going through right now, clearly rebuilding, but it does open the door for players to get opportunities at the major league level that they might not ordinarily get, and some of them can shine.
Looping liner for a base hit. Well, Frank Core apparently can still swing it, and he is 2 for 2 in this one. Be sure to subscribe to NESN's YouTube page and stay up to date on the latest sports news and exclusive interviews. Visit youtube.com/NESN right now. So leadoff single for Atlanta here in the fourth inning. Red Sox up by 3 runs. A mammoth home run by Travis Shaw in the first inning. That'll bring up Tyler Flowers. He drew a walk in the first that loaded the bases, but then Price struck out Stubbs to end it and held him to 1 run. They do appeal, and no, says Kerwin Danley, no swing. Sox are back home tomorrow night at Fenway. Stephen Wright against Bud Norris in another game against these Atlanta Braves. And Buchholz against Chacin on Thursday. Both of those games at 7:10. Fastball pumped in. Braves have lost 6 in a row. 4-15. They have the worst record in the majors. One pitch is in there. Later on this summer, though, they're doing something I think is really fantastic. They're playing the Marlins, but they're not playing in either one of their home ballparks. They are playing at Fort Bragg for the servicemen and women of the United States Army, and home to the 82nd Airborne. Swing and a miss, and down he goes for strike 3. I'm proud to say my son is serving as part of the 82nd, and he will be there in person to watch that game.
Right. What baseball field do they use?
It's a great question. They're creating something. They have something there that they're going to make a regulation major league stadium.
Bring in a bunch of portable stands or something maybe.
Stubbs hitting .214, and it's in tight for a ball. Red Sox ahead 4-1 here in the fourth. Price striking out 6 of the last 9, and that'll miss up top.
It's amazing when you watch Price work, and we know he's going to strike out hitters, but you look at that, 6 of the last 9 guys he has struck out. It almost does it quietly. Guys just take their third and go sit down. He's starting to work the 4 quadrants of the strike zone now too. We just saw him do it against Flowers. You see the pitch tracks right there. One's up and away, up and in, down and in, all over the place now. And that's good when it's all over the place within the strike zone.
2-1 pitch will drift outside. Now he's got to 3-1. He did walk a man in the first inning. Francoeur at first base with 1 away. Three and 2. We've got the Braves, and you've gone 14 games now since your last home run. You've matched the Atlanta franchise record for futility. I'm sure they're all sitting there going, are we ever going to hit another one?
They're all major league players, too. There's so many guys on that ball club that can accidentally hit one.
Price with a 3-2 pitch. Foul tipped, and he cannot hang on, so off the mid of Vasquez. And that means Stubbs is still alive here. Looks like another strikeout there.
Yeah, you could just hold on, just a foul tip there. Stubbs is one of the guys with home run power in this lineup. Ball caught Vasquez on the glove and the face mask.
Rice looking for the punch out. Just inside. And he walks him. That'll put runners at first and second. Star Wars Night at Fenway returns on Monday, May 9th. Fans in attendance have the chance to see their favorite Star Wars characters at the ballpark. With the purchase of a special ticket, you can receive a limited edition Red Sox baseball. For tickets and more information, visit redsox.com/Star Wars. Eric Ibar now, the longtime Angel. He is 0 for 1 with a tapper to short. Spent 10 years with the Angels. Well, he's been a very good doubles man, good gap hitter.
Really great career with the Angels. I think it's safe to say that the Braves are pretty disappointed with what they've seen out of him so far this season. Getting a $134. 1 RBI.
Sox up here 4-1 in the 4th inning. Price trying to dial up a double play ball from Ibar. But a base hit to right instead. Francoeur into third. They put the brakes on him, and the bases are going to be loaded.
This is what we talked about last night. This Braves team has the best average in the National League with runners in scoring position of any team. But just because you get hits with guys in scoring position doesn't mean the guy's going to score. They get a ton of hits. They don't score a lot of runs.
David Price still not ultra sharp. He looked like he was settling in. He had set down 7 consecutive men. And now John Farrell is on the horn. And talking to the bullpen. So the bases are loaded for the 2nd time in 4 innings against the lefty. Now the pitcher is up, Whistler. He cuts and misses. He struck out in the 2nd. Nobody up yet in the Sox pen. Markakis on deck. 1 away. And a fly ball pretty well hit to right. Backing up, Mookie Betts on the run. He'll track it down, tagging up Francoeur. He will be in to score. Stubbs down to third. Another run in. That makes it 4-2. Sacrifice. And Whistler picks up his first RBI.
See what Price is thinking there. Trying to get the ball away from him, but that ball sailed out right out over the middle of the plate. Even the opposing pitcher can generally get his bat on a pitch like that.
Steve, you're still not seeing 95, 96 out of this guy.
Yeah, and I mean, as I said before, I think the thing that worries me more is his location. I think he can certainly be an effective pitcher without 96. But he has to be pinpoint, and he has not been that.
Markakis now, he's 0 for 2, 2 down, men on the corners, and swings at the first pitch, and he pops it up. Xander couldn't find it. Can he find it now? It'll be caught by Holt in left field. He was panicking out there, but Brock Holt wasn't. And both Shaw and Bogaerts had lost it in the twilight. It's right at that time. It could have been ugly. 4-2 the Red Sox. By Southwest Airlines, transparency, low fares, and nothing to hide. A little bit of panic here for the Red Sox, but Travis Shaw helped out with some communication.
Yeah, great communication by Shaw. He knows the ball's in the air. Watch him at third base. He's telling everybody where it is. Then he realizes Bogaerts doesn't know where it is at all. He's got his hands down. He's looking up for it. Now he's telling Brock Holt, Brock, you got to go make sure you catch this ball because no one else knows where it is.
It's a tough sky right now.
Brock Holt saying, I got this. I can catch it behind my back. You guys just chill. It's all right.
Dustin Pedroia leading off the 5th inning. He's walked and scored and popped up. John Farrell had gotten on the bullpen horn. The Red Sox were not warming anybody within a few moments after that call, but Price is not ultra sharp. He has allowed 5 hits. Still leading 4-2. Bogaerts on deck.
The Red Sox offense in many games have been so streaky. They will come out like gangbusters, score runs in the first, and then go away for innings at a time.
The Sox with only 1 hit since the first inning when they exploded for 4 runs. And Shaw crushed a 3-run homer. The 0-2. Line toward right, slicing toward the line, and that's going to drop in. That should be extra bases. Pedroia off to second base and will stop there with a double. So an excellent start to the 5th inning for the Red Sox with Bogaerts 2 for 2 on his way up now.
That's Speedy, just outstanding hitting, taking a hard slider away from him and just going with it down the opposite field.
I think this is the best example, Steve, of how well his hands are feeling.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The plate coverage, to be able to go out and get that ball, he's doing that regularly.
And you know, we like to think he's a dead pull hitter, and he does love to pull the ball, but he's his best player when he's using the whole field. And you maybe sacrifice a little power out of him when he does that, but who cares? He's Dustin Pedroia. Do we need 25 home runs out of him? No. We need him standing on second base like that a bunch of times.
Fly into right field. Markakis will back up and line it up. Pedroia will tag. Markakis has a good arm, but the throw is going to be shy. And Pedroia down to third base. So Bogaerts advances the runner. 1 man out. Red Sox trying to get on top 5-2. Activity in the Atlanta bullpen. O'Flaherty, the left-hander, begins to loosen. But he will not be ready for Travis Shaw, who has ripped a 418-foot 3-run homer and struck out, hitting .324. The infield is in for Atlanta with Pedroia at third base. 4-2 Sox.
Bogarts put a little star next to that at bat. Driving the ball the other way, getting the guy up. A productive out.
In for a strike.
Changes the way the Braves have to play defensively. You don't think Shaw's at the plate right now, so happy to see the infield in? Go ahead, play in. I might knock somebody down.
Whistler with a 1-1. Punch foul back to the netting. Matt Whistler's pitching line is brought to you by your Eastern Lexus dealer. 4 earned runs. He's up to 74 pitches. This is his 4th start of the year. They actually used him to save a win at Miami. Pitched in the 10th inning. Got the save.
It's a young kid, and you'd think he was the other team's ace, the other team's #1, because of who he's gone up against in his starts.
Now it gets away. Here comes Pedroia, and he's going to score standing up, and the Red Sox lead it 5-2. Now back to the value of that high fly to right field by Xander Bogaerts that you mentioned.
Exactly right. You move the guy up to third. There's a bunch of different ways he can score. That's a ball in the dirt right there that probably should have been handled by Flowers. Not sure how it bounced away from him. Here's a better view. I just kind of boxed it. I think they scored that a wild pitch, but that's a ball that should be caught.
They have ruled it a wild pitch. Ground ball to third base, and Garcia with the play. Red Sox ahead 5-2. Ace Ticket, Boston's trusted source for Red Sox tickets, has the best seats at the lowest prices to all games at Fenway and all with a 200% guarantee. Treat yourself for someone special by visiting aceticket.com or by calling 1-800-MY-SEATS.
So how would you like to be Matt Whistler? He's pitching today, and in the other games that he's started, he's faced Matt Harvey, Clayton Kershaw, Max Scherzer, and now David Price.
And pitched well.
But thank you very much. No wins to show for it.
Fouled back out of play. Not great tonight. Obviously, he's allowed 5 runs. But in those previous outings, he went 6 2/3, 6 and 6 2/3.
Yeah. It's really tough when you're going up against the other team's #1 every time.
Ogando has joined O'Flaherty in the bullpen for Atlanta. Hanley is 0 for 2. A fly to right. He's been caught looking on a 3rd strike. The Braves have puzzled Hanley. Over his last 11 games against Atlanta, he is 2 for 32 against them.
Ouch.
One pitch and a breaking ball, didn't snap much.
I'm with you though, Dave. I know that prior to his last at bat, you were feeling really good about Hanley tonight, and I think this is a good situation for him to hit this pitch right here.
2 down, bases empty. He lets it go for ball 3.
Now you just put yourself further into a hole. You're 3-1 against Hanley now in a situation where he really wants to do some damage.
Jackie Bradley would hit next if given the opportunity. The 3-1. High fly, pretty well hit to right. Markakis backing up on the track, and he'll haul it in. And Hanley just missed one there. Red Sox add another run, now ahead 5-2 here in the 5th. MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment with game day, live game video, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your smartphone and tablet today. Dustin Pedroia adding a run after his leadoff double. The fly out by Bogarts to right field got him down to third. The wild pitch got him in. So the Red Sox are scoring for David Price. Again, he has not been razor sharp. He has allowed 2 runs on 5 hits. Here comes Daniel Castro, has made a terrific circus catch in the outfield as the second baseman.
And swung the bat well.
He's hit it hard twice, but there's nothing to show. He's lined to right, grounded sharply to second.
I know that the Red Sox only scored 1 run, but this is another situation where you need a shutdown inning. After you go and get some runs, shut them down so you can come and get more.
Line drive not creamed this time and hauled in by Bogarts. 1 man out tonight. Following Red Sox coverage on NESN Sports Today, the Celtics are playing right down the street here in Atlanta. A pivotal Game 5. We have highlights, reaction, and more. NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. See what know-how can do. Adonis Garcia has singled and struck out. Little tapper. Price handles that for a quick second out.
Do you think if your name's Adonis puts a little more pressure on you?
You know mommy and daddy love you.
I guess so. Be tough to live up to.
2 up, 2 down for Freeman. He has singled and struck out in this one, hitting just .209, so one of the few power threats in their lineup so far with just 1 home run.
He has swung the bat well in the 2 ball games down here against the Red Sox. However, this is not a guy you want to see get hot.
A 2-time All-Star. In 2013, he drove in 109 runs. He was really an emerging star, but he's been well short of that the last couple of years. 78 and 66 RBIs. There were some injury
issues, yep. It was funny talking to Freddie Gonzalez before yesterday's game. He said, make no mistake, Freddie Freeman's a #3 hitter. That's what he's going to be. That's who he has been. That's who he's going to be for us. He hit 6th yesterday. He's hitting 4th today. I'm not sure.
The 1-1. 2 balls, 1 strike on Freeman. He is really their remaining name player on this roster. Would you agree?
Yeah. Absolutely. The rest of it is mix and match.
High fly, that one deep to left, but playable. Brock Holt is back there to put it away. That's a very fast frame for Price. He gets him in order.
There's your shutdown.
There it is, 5-2 Red Sox. Well, here's our Dunkin' Donuts poll question. We're going to give you the answer as well. It's about the designated hitter, and should the National League adopt the DH as well? And 57% of you say yes.
Not surprised by the answer at all. There's been kind of a swell of people saying, why are we still doing it this way? Why isn't it the same for everybody? But you and I agree that we kind of like the tradition of what we've seen. We like the arguments about it. If it becomes the same, there's fewer things to argue. I love a baseball argument.
Here's our Kia call to the bullpen. It'll be Eric O'Flaherty coming on. He replaces Whistler, the pitcher, who started it, went 5, gave up 5 runs and 5 hits. And Jackie Bradley, the first man in. Jackie's been hit by a pitch and scored. He's also grounded to short in this one, after driving in the winning run in back-to-back games, including a home run last night. Had the big hit in Houston in the 12th inning. He tried to hold up, but he foul tipped it. It appears, Steve, that the confidence that John Farrell has shown in Jackie is paying off. For example, the last game at Fenway, before this road swing, the bases were loaded. There was a lefty on the mound for Tampa Bay. John stuck with him. He decided not to lift him for a pinch hitter, to bring on a right-hand hitter, Young or someone, Tapper to first base. But he said, Jackie is our center fielder. He is my guy. And that seems to be paying off here with a couple of start turns for him.
And it usually pays off for the player in that situation because you can relax a little bit more. You're never looking over your shoulder, waiting if you're going to get yanked out of a game in a crucial situation. And, you know, obviously there's a little more pressure on you to produce in crucial situations, but most players live for those moments. That's what they're hoping for. Can't always be successful in that moment, but you're certainly happy to be the guy at that time.
Is Brock Holt. He's doubled in a run and grounded out, 1 for 2. Brock has now reached base in every game he's played in this season, all 16 of them. And his string actually goes back to last year, the tail end of last season, so it's 20 consecutive games.
It's just a solid player. There's a bunch of guys on this Red Sox team where if you're a 10-year-old kid sitting on the couch watching the game, you could point to a bunch of them to say, this is the way you play the game.
Swing and a miss. Down he goes, strike 3, 2 gone. Christian Vasquez next. Tonight's suits are designed by Joseph Abboud, custom made in the USA of fine Italian fabrics, and available at Men's Warehouse.
Got to tell you, I'm feeling pretty good in my fine Italian fabric from Joseph Abboud right now.
You're always styling.
Well, Joseph, hard not to.
Withrow pitch last night. He's warming up again in their bullpen. Red Sox up 5-2, 6th inning. Trying to take these two in Atlanta, and then we'll see the Braves again twice more at Fenway Park the next couple of nights. Red Sox coming home. Will also have the Yankees for the first time in 2016, beginning Friday night at Fenway.
Come on out.
Vasquez has been walked intentionally and grounded out to short. Sox have chased the starter. Price just moments away from hitting, perhaps. He walked his last time. 2 down, though.
I assume you're not at all surprised by the poll results either.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Nope.
A lot of people are headed that direction in their opinions now.
I think those folks who voted that way are probably correct, actually, because there's a big pull in that direction.
Sure.
The commissioners talked about that, Rob Manfred, as it's fouled at the plate. Stay tuned for Red Sox Final, presented by Plainridge Park Casino. TC and Tim Wakefield will preview Stephen Wright's start tomorrow and highlights from around the American League East. Stephen continues to throw the ball exceptionally well. It's really become a rock in that rotation.
Yeah. He's fun to watch go out there every 5 days, and the rest of the time you don't even know he's around.
3-2. Red Sox looking for another solid start tonight. Certainly got one last night out of Rick Porcello. He's off to a 4-0 start. The 3-2 to Vasquez. and roll to the shortstop. And Ibar will set him down. 1-2-3 go the Red Sox after 5.5. 5-2 Boston. David Price's pitching line is brought to you by Ace Ticket. He's up to 70 pitches, 47 for strikes through 5 hits. A couple of walks there. He has struck out half a dozen. And maybe the real test for him will be the third time against this man, Jeff Francoeur, who is 2 for 2. And has scored a run and driven in one. 5-2. The Red Sox lead it on to the bottom of the 6th inning here in Atlanta. And the first one dips in for a strike.
It's funny to see how Francoeur has matured in his old age too. You remember he never saw a pitch he didn't like to swing at in his earlier years.
32 is old age.
Well, he's been around a while. He said he definitely feels older, doesn't run as well. He said, I can't play center field. He said, they've asked me to play center every once in a while. He said, sure, for a day maybe.
High fly. That one hooked down the line. That one sailing into the corner, but that is going to be a foul ball. Hit it a long way.
It was a home run if it's fair, and they haven't had many of those.
Francoeur has not hit one this season. Again, it's been 14 games since they hit one.
Just gets out in front of this. You see the bat head and even the top half starting to collapse, trying to stay out over that ball, but he got there a little quicker than the ball did, and he pulled it foul.
He is 5 for 8 against Price. And that one just missed. It was off the corner, but close.
It's an excellent pitch right there. It's exactly what Price was trying to do with it. Maybe you get the call, and if you don't, it's not a pitch anyone can hit.
2-2. Yeah, Francoeur was one of those guys in his younger days with Atlanta. He was swinging coming off the bus. It didn't matter where the pitch was. Shoe tops to the brim of his cap. He was swinging.
He loved to hack. And he was successful that way early on. And people started figuring, why would I throw this guy a strike?
Eventually wound up in the minor leagues. That one over the inside corner. He got him. He strikes him out. Francoeur didn't think so, but he'll take a seat. One away in the 6th.
Very nicely pitched at bat right here to Francoeur. The entire at bat did a good job. That might have been in off the plate, but once again, it was a pitch that if it was a ball, it was unhittable. And he did get the call from West back there on that pitch.
Strikeout number 7 for Price. Here's Flowers. He struck out his last time up. He's also taken ball 4. 5 runs on 5 hits for the Red Sox. 2 runs on 5 hits for Atlanta. And it's quickly 0-2. Looking to put him away here, but he bounced it.
It's amazing to think that they've only hit 3 home runs, have the Braves. And I remember in the Fulton County days, that stadium, they used to call it the launching pad. There were so many home runs that left the place.
I remember it well. It flew out of there. The 1-2 fastball and got him over the inside corner. Back-to-back Ks by the left-hander.
Wow, they're starting to hear from it a little bit. Both of those pitches called by Joe West were questionable. See the pitch zone there. It's out of the strike zone. Joe might be getting tired. I can understand the argument there. I can understand the argument from Francoeur as well.
8 strikeouts for Price. Flowers down on strikes for the 2nd time. Here's Stubbs. He lines up the middle. That one almost got Price. It's off into center field for a base hit.
How did that miss him?
That's a deep breath.
It almost looked like it went right through him. Price is generally in pretty good position to field the ball after he throws it, because he recoils. He doesn't fall off to one side or the other. But look at that. He's standing straight up, and that thing just goes whizzing right by him.
That's 6 hits now for the Braves, and brings up Ibar, who has one of those 6, a single in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 2. We wonder on a couple of those strikes where Francoeur and Flowers thought it was a ball. Was it the presentation of the young man behind the plate, Christian Vasquez?
Well, that's a heck of a presentation, I'll tell you that.
That's the phraseology. That's a swing and a miss for a strike. That's the phraseology that I think the managers and coaches today want to use, not framing when they describe it. Presentation.
Are we at a fine French restaurant, or it's all about the presentation? But I like that better too, because framing to me is, it's an outdated art.
Bounding ball backing up Shaw. The toss high. Hanley came down, but not in time. And so Shaw casting too high a throw means the inning is still cooking here for Atlanta, 1st and 2nd. And that will be an error.
It's the first bad throw that we've seen Shaw make all season long. He told me earlier he has not been happy with the infield and the way it plays here. But that throw right there doesn't have a whole lot to do with the way the infield plays. He just launched it.
Ibar safe at first base, and Stubbs safely into 2nd. They're going to bring up Kelly Johnson to pinch hit in the 9th slot.
Let me explain what I mean by about framing being sort of an outdated art. When catchers catch a ball and pull it back into the zone, you're not fooling anybody. And that's not really what Vasquez does, a little bit of that, but that's not really what he's doing to steal pitches for his pitcher. The umpire by that point has already made up his mind what he's calling. He's not fooled by a guy pulling the ball back.
Strike 1 on Johnson, the lefty hitter.
What Vasquez will do is set up on the outside part of the plate, and if you throw it even farther off the outside of the plate, he'll catch it with the inside part of his glove to make it look like a better pitch. That's what he does very, very well.
Now Price suddenly has to get out of an inning that has gotten a little bit tight after back-to-back strikeouts. A single and now an error. Sox up 5-2, and slice foul back to the screen by Johnson.
And Dave, if you watch him, the way Vasquez moves, number one, he's so smooth behind the plate. He glides back and forth. But if he's going to be on the outer half of the plate, he sets up so far off so that the center of where you want to throw the ball is right on the corner. So everything looks better because he looks like he's catching a ball right down the middle no matter where he's set up.
Price looking for his third K in this inning. And it missed. Not by much. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Watch Vasquez. Kind of fakes like he's going to be outside, slides back inside, catches it right there. You see how that looked like a pretty darn good pitch where he caught it and it was off the plate.
I'm surprised the way this inning's been called. It was not a strike.
That didn't get called a strike. Me too. Because that's stealing pitches for your catcher or for your pitcher right there.
Here comes the 1-2 pitch to Johnson. And that is in there for strike 3. He got him looking. In the end, he strikes out 3. 2 left. 5-2 Red Sox. D.D. Burke's loyalty program. That's how Dunkin' Donuts shows big-time appreciation to loyal fans with great offers and perks like a free beverage when you join, another on your birthday. Enroll today at ddperks.com or the Dunkin' Donuts mobile app. The Red Sox run on Dunkin'. 5-2, Red Sox in the lead here as we go to the 7th inning. Chris Withrow, former Los Angeles Dodger, will come on and pitch. He's been pitching very well. He tossed 7 consecutive scoreless innings.
This guy has a great arm. The Dodgers never really wanted to give up on him at all. 2 different surgeries where he's missed most of the last couple seasons.
David Price hacking away. He has struck out and walked. He's had a fascinating outing tonight because he's winning the game 5-2. I think everyone would say not his best stuff. At one point, John Farrell was getting on the bullpen horn earlier in the game. Twice, Atlanta has loaded the bases. But do you realize he has 9 strikeouts in 6 innings?
Certainly hasn't hurt his status atop the strikeout leaderboard.
Just struck out 3 men. Pitched out of a jam. Not entirely of his making. And has a 3-run lead. And he pokes that one to the third baseman. Garcia spins and fires, and he'll get him. One away. Time for a game break now. Brought to you by Jordan's, the furniture store, the Boston Red Sox. Here's our man TC. TC, thanks. And the Sox have an upcoming series in Chicago, and that White Sox team is surprisingly good.
I tell you, Sale is going to win 20. That guy is amazing.
Mookie Betts will climb in now here against Withrow. He's gone 0 for 3 tonight. He almost blooped in a single into short right field in the 4th inning, but Castro, the second baseman, made a wonderful play on it. A high pop up back toward the netting. Not a lot of room there. Flowers will watch it go into the seats.
I was thinking about last inning, when you face a guy like David Price and he's a lefty ace, you try to load up your lineup with all your right-handed hitters. You get them in there, but unfortunately what happens is late in the game when you need a pinch hitter, Freddie Gonzalez didn't have a righty on his bench. The only people he had available to him were left-handed hitters, so he sends Kelly Johnson up there as the sacrificial lamb who takes the punch out and sits down, inning over.
The 0-1 to Mookie Betts. That's a strike. Over his last 6 games, coming into this one, Mookie 12 for 30, and he had scored 10 runs. But he has not scored tonight. Here's the 0-2. Sox did get 4 right away in the 1st inning. And 3 of those on a mammoth clout from Travis Shaw's 2nd home run of the year. It's still going.
Landed in a red seat.
At 418 feet. Almost went down a tunnel out there in right field.
Mookie's been hitting the ball so hard the other way. I hope they try to go in on him one time. And they tried.
And into left field it goes for a base hit. So he's 1 for 4. He's on again Saturday morning at 9 on Dining Playbook. Billy heads into the kitchen to cook up some salmon with a world-renowned chef. Don't miss Dining Playbook Saturday morning at 9 on Nesson. Driven by your New England Chevy dealers.
To me, Betts is amazing how they can pitch him away, and he can hit the ball hard away, like we've seen this whole series here and in Houston, drilling balls in the right center field gap. They try to come in on him one time, and he smokes it into left field for a base hit.
Well, 1 out. We'll see if he does some running here. Does have 4 stolen bases. Dustin Pedroia has been on base twice with a walk and a double. Mookie bluffed, and the pitch is in there for a strike.
You got to think Mookie's running. Withrow is not as quick to the plate as Whistler was.
Kind of a light hitting night so far for the Sox, just 6 hits. But in the 6 games since getting 1 hit by Tampa Bay, the Red Sox have the highest batting average in the majors, .317. They also lead the majors in hits, doubles, on base percentage, runs, and slugging percentage since then.
Should win some games with those kind of numbers, huh?
Xander Bogaerts with a good night brewing so far. He has 2 hits. The 0-1 pitch will not be made, and back he goes.
There's not a lot of foul room here in this ballpark, but doesn't Xander looks like he's right on top of home plate as the on-deck hitter right there? He could whisper secrets to Petey.
Took a short putt.
Man, on top of him.
Runner goes. It's high. Here's the throw.
Put it in your pocket.
And he held onto the bag, so it is a stolen base, and it is number 5 for Mookie Betts.
Let's see if we get a good look at the jump. Great jump at that point right there. You're not getting him. That is fun to watch.
He's fun to watch. 1 out in scoring position. 5-2. Red Sox looking to add on here in the 7th. Pedroia trying to pick up his 7th RBI. High fly, right center field. Stubbs backing up. Makes the catch. Mookie with a tag. He'll advance easily into third base. And there are 2 down. NESN is a brand new site for car enthusiasts. NESN Fuel, your new home for everything automotive, including exclusive driver interviews. Visit NESNfuel.com and follow NESN Fuel on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram today. And now Xander Bogaerts, who has a pair of singles. He's also flied out to right. That average climbing up to 286. Two-way and Mookie Betts at third base. With a win tonight, the Sox go to 11-9. In for a strike. And coming home, and as mentioned earlier, the next 28 games, 18 of those are going to be at Fenway.
A lot of them are going to be against teams that you should beat. You know, Dave, it's funny, we were talking about Mookie Betts, and when this season started, he is such an easy guy to gush about. And I was like, as Rob Bradford would say, pumping the brakes on that a little bit. Because, you know, he had a breakout year last year, but he's a young kid. I mean, you can easily fall on your face. It's hard to be a really good player. But now, just a little ways into this season, I think it's clear that I think he's going to be a special player.
Line shot to right. That's down into the corner. That's a fair ball. Mookie in to score. Xander is heading to second base and will pull up with a double. Speaking of upside.
Yeah, and speaking of special players, exactly, that guy's right on his heels. And it's all because of the way he changed his approach. And we've seen it all night tonight, going the other way. Driving the ball the other way. That's so hard to do. It's so hard to stay back on that ball and let it travel through the zone when it's going away from you, to stay on top of it and drive it like he does right there.
Red Sox ahead 6-2. We're in the 7th inning. A pitching change. Back to Atlanta with more in just a moment. You by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By your New England Ford dealers. Ford, go further. And by the University of Massachusetts. Here for a reason. Well, the Sox have opened it up now, 6-2 in the 7th inning. Steve Lyons and Dave O'Brien with you. Another pitching change. Hunter Cervenka, the left-hander, big guy, 250 pounds, will come on to face Travis Shaw.
Hasn't worked that much, but he hasn't given up anything either.
He was formerly in the Red Sox system way back in 2009. He's pitched for 5 different teams over the last year at the minor league level and now the big league level. And Travis Shaw has one big hit tonight, and it was a shot in the first inning.
Ever since Travis Shaw has employed that leg kick, the power has showed up. Hey, did you see that? Our graphic, we had to redraw the blue line. It had to stop at one point because it wouldn't go that far, and then they had to start over again.
The exit velocity on that was 109 miles an hour.
Nobody wants to be in front of that thing.
2 down. Xander Bogaerts has another 3-hit game. He's on at second, as that is quickly lined foul into the stands. Travis, since the home run, has struck out and grounded out to third. Red Sox looking to grab 2 here in Atlanta and facing the Braves twice more at Fenway in the next 2 nights. And the lefty with the 0-1 pitch. The runner goes. Swung on and missed. The throw down to third, and he's safe. That is the second stolen base tonight for Xander and his 5th for the year.
Very odd 2 pitches there. Ibar came in to try to pick off Xander at 1 pitch ago, and they didn't throw over. Now he doesn't pay any attention to him, and Xander takes off. Good walking lead, little hop steps. He said, if you're not going to stop me, I'm going to keep going.
He's done so much work on his leg strength the last couple of years, and that's where it's paying off. Here's the 0-2. Andy Ramirez on deck, a run in. Red Sox on top 6-2. The Red Sox now 19 stolen bases in 20 games. This goes back to what John Farrell preached in spring training. Sense of urgency. Push it, push it, push it when you can.
Be aggressive. And you know, that's kind of a gratuitous stolen base right there. He's already in scoring position, all right, with Shaw on second base. But really, I think what Xander's doing is he doesn't steal third that often. This was an excellent time for him to think, I want to see what my jumps are. I want to see how it feels to steal third base. Maybe it'll be beneficial for me in a time where I really need to steal third base.
Foul tap, course pass ball or wild pitch.
Right. Just saying that generally you don't see guys steal third with 2 outs.
Well, you don't want to make that third out at third base.
Exactly. You better be safe.
The attendance tonight 23,487. And the 2-2. Popped up, twisting foul off third, and Garcia near the Sox dugout will make the play to retire the side. But the Red Sox get another run. 7th inning stretch time now, 6-2 Red Sox. pitch presented by Joseph Abboud, available at Men's Warehouse. Steve is back in our studio, looking snappy with TC to break down Stephen Wright's knuckleball.
Oh, that'll be fun. What am I going to say? I don't know what it does. Neither do the hitters.
It darts. It's a butterfly. It's been very tough to hit. And Mr. Price has piled up 9 strikeouts tonight. He has a 6-2 lead as we go to the last half of the 7th inning here in Atlanta, and Markakis will lead it off. He tried to check, and it's inside. They do appeal, and that's a swing and a miss, according to Ripperger at third base. So it counts 0-1. He'll be followed by Castro and then Garcia. For the offensively challenged Atlanta Braves. Bounding ball, Pedroia down for it. That's a fast out. And for more on Hanley Ramirez, let's go down to Guerin.
Hey, thanks, Obie. Well, Hanley Ramirez has been impressing a lot of people with his transition to first base. I talked to infield coach Brian Butterfield, who said that he's been putting in a lot of work, and his teammates appreciate the work he's been putting in. Butterfield also said that Ramirez comes to work in a great mood every day, and he's just a joy to be around. And guys, I also talked to Farrell about it, and he said that he's a different player than he was last season.
In so many ways, I think that's correct, Aaron. I think everybody who has been around Hanley since day one of spring training would make that same statement. And look, first base was supposed to be a problem. It hasn't remotely been a problem.
Yeah, he's much happier this season. I got a chance to speak with him before the game too, and we were talking about that a little bit. He said, "You didn't like me last year." I said, "Yes, I did. You and I go way back."
Everybody loves that guy, Brian Butterfield.
One of the hardest workers in the game.
An amazing coach, a great mind, and he has rubbed off on Hanley in a great way.
Yep.
I mean, if you go to work every day and Brian Butterfield is your guy, he's your tutor, he's your leaning guy, he's the guy you lean on, that's in there for strike 3, you're going to feel great about yourself at the end of the day.
And you can't not get better.
Right. Truly one of the best in the business. 10 strikeouts for Price as he punches out Castro and now goes after Garcia, who he struck out in the 3rd inning.
And think of what Butterfield has done over his career too, especially with John Farrell, kind of hitching his wagon to John Farrell in his career. Sacrificed his own dreams of managing somewhere.
I think you're right. I think there was a lot of interest in maybe talking to the man they call Butter about a managerial spot, but he comes from a line of coaches in Maine.
And it's funny, you know, when you take a managing job, you relinquish some of that coaching control. And I think Butter loves the fact that he gets to teach every day. When you're a manager, there's way more other stuff that has to go into it, and you have to rely on guys like Butterfield instead of doing it yourself.
Bases empty, 2 down, and a 2-0. Red Sox up 6-2. Hard to believe, but we're almost through the first month of the baseball season. Be sure to know when the Sox are on the schedule. You can download that season schedule directly into your favorite calendar program by visiting NESN.com/schedule. High chop to third, but foul. So this is the 2nd time in his young Red Sox career that Price has struck out 10. He did that on opening day at Cleveland and was in 6 innings. He struck out 8 against Baltimore, 9 against Toronto over 7 innings. And now 10 again here tonight.
And this may be his last inning as he's right at 100 pitches.
And
99.
guess what? A strikeout
To send him away.
possibly. Number 11. The end of 7. Red Sox up 6-2. brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. To the 8th inning, Red Sox head 6-2 here in Atlanta. Steve Lyons and Dave O'Brien, Garen Austin alongside. We are all ready to get back home. Red Sox will be boarding a charter right after this one back to Logan Airport. It'll be Ryan Weber out of their bullpen, another high ERA at 6.35.
Well, I'll tell you, early in seasons, if you have a couple blow-up innings, it takes you a long time to get that ERA back in check. And Hanley's not going to do anything to help him.
He's 0 for 3 tonight with a fly to right, a strikeout looking, another fly to right field, very deep to the warning track. The Sox scored 4 times right away. That has been their habit here in 2016. First inning runs, routine ground ball, and fielded by Ibar at short. One away in the 8th. NESN's looking for youth baseball and softball teams to be a live studio audience for NESN Clubhouse this season. Visit NESNClubhouse.com and click on studio audience to enter your son or daughter's team today.
To finish that conversation I had with Hanley Ramirez today, I said, Hanley, the only problem that you had last year is that when you were hurt, you didn't tell anybody about it, and you set yourself up for criticism because you weren't playing as well. He goes, I'm not going to say anything about that. I said, I know, but if you do, at least people understand that you're not 100%.
In for a strike on Jackie Bradley, who's been hit by a pitch, grounded to short, grounded to second, who's injured running up against that wall down the line at Fenway. Big swing and a miss to make it 0-2. And that was right as May was getting underway after he'd had that big first month.
And then when he heard it again and didn't say anything about it for the longest time, finally they said, what's wrong with Hanley? And they finally put him on the DL, and it was his shoulder again. But by that time, the season was kind of in the tank.
Now, he has yet to catch fire. That's just a matter of time.
Sure.
He's been too good a hitter, and he knows he's going to too.
He has done what they asked him to do, and that's not try to launch balls 15 rows back into left field every time he goes to the plate. Go up there and be the hitter that made you a great hitter.
2-2 on the way. And around the outside. I think more important than anything, he's played a competent first base. Learning a new position at the big league level is terribly difficult to do.
Better than competent.
Made some really fine plays. Here comes the 3-2. And down goes Jackie. So 2 down here in the 8th inning. Get expert emergency care without leaving the ballpark at the Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center First Aid Station at Fenway, located right behind Section 12. That's on the lower concourse. Visit bidmc.org. Brock Holt has a double. He's also grounded a second and struck out tonight. Red Sox ahead 6-2 in the 8th. And sitting pretty to go 4-1 on this road trip. And get to 2 games over 500 heading back home.
Just what the doctor ordered. I think that's kind of what people were hoping for. Think about the one loss too. It was a game that could have won.
I think this has been as closely scrutinized a start to a Red Sox season as I can remember. Up the middle, stopped by Ibar near the bag, and throws on to get him, and it's 1-2-3 to the bottom of the 8th. Red Sox in front 6-2 in Atlanta.
Well, it's kind of hard to talk about David Price and say that maybe he didn't have his best stuff, but a lot of these Atlanta Braves hitters will tell you different. 11 strikeouts. We talked about Porcello and how he got his different ways. Look at all the different ways Price is striking guys out. Look at the different locations, inside, outside, up, down. Goodness. And the list goes on, and he's back out there for the 8th, and I'm sure that that's David Price talking his way back into this game.
This pitch count is in good shape as he is now at 100. A 20th career game with 11 or more strikeouts for the left-hander. And it was dicey early in the game. He loaded up the bases in the first inning, gave up a run, loaded them up again in the 4th inning. But in the last 2 innings, he has 5 strikeouts. Freeman has gone 1 for 3 with a base hit off him tonight. Red Sox are getting Pat Light going in the bullpen with a 6-2 lead here in the 8th. And Price trying to go to 3-0 on the season.
He's got 101 pitches. He's at the point where the bullpen could easily take this over. And I bet John Farrell said, hey, nice job, did a good job for us. We can get you out of there. And I bet he said, no, I'll go out there for at least one more. Let's save everybody.
2-1. Slicer foul out of play. Francoeur on deck, and then Flowers. And tomorrow at 6:30, don't miss Red Sox Game Day Live presented by DCU. Gordon Eads will stop by to discuss the history behind interleague play. DCU Digital Federal Credit Union. What can DCU save you? Gordon's always very entertaining. Cut on and missed, and there is number 12.
Goodness.
He gets Freeman for the 2nd time.
You have 12 strikeouts. There's not a whole lot of guys in the lineup that don't have 2. This one, you look at what Price does here, just kind of goes up in the zone and throws it by him.
Francoeur has singled twice and was called out on a 3rd strike in the 6th inning. He didn't like it. He thought the pitch was inside. His nickname is Frenchie. What he said was not in French.
Well, when you say a bad word, don't you say, excuse my French?
I do. Career high for Price is 14 strikeouts.
Don't put it past him.
I think a lot of fans are watching this game tonight and they're going, this is what a number 1 looks like. It's a great reminder. Red Sox have had some amazing starting pitching.
And I'll tell you what, this is a game where he's done this a few times too, where got off to a little bit of a shaky start and has actually been better later. He's up over 100 pitches now. I think over his last couple innings, he's been his sharpest.
When I say by amazing starting pitching, I'm talking about, great pitchers like Pedro and Roger and Kurt Schilling, a cut and a miss, and down he goes, and there comes number 13. 13 strikeouts for David Price. He is 1 away from matching his career high. He's just gotten better and better as this game has gone along.
Yep.
So now he takes on Tyler Flowers, who has walked and also struck out twice. He takes ball 1. Red Sox ahead 6-2, but right now the story is on the mound as Price goes for 14 Ks. Had him out in front there, and it's 1-1. He's trying to strike out the side here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Here comes the 1-1 to Flowers, and that'll miss inside. Stubbs on deck. And the 2-1. 2-2. He is dealing.
Yes. This is kind of, I mean, he's dominating right now, but this is the kind of effort that you expect to see out of a guy like Price. I mean, it's going to be really hard for us to walk away from this game and say, well, he didn't really have his best stuff. Early on, he didn't. Certainly does now.
The 2-2. And in there, strike three. There's number 14. David Price tying his career high with 14 Ks. He strikes out the side in the 8th. Brought to you by Xfinity. Mr. Price, quite a performance. 14 strikeouts to tie a career high. Pretty amazing stuff to watch a #1 pitch like a real ace like that. As he strikes out the last 3 bases. The last 9 outs he recorded, Steve, 8 were on strikeouts.
Oh, wow. It's like history kind of stuff, you know, just blowing through a lineup.
And he could be better than that. That's frightening. Vasquez to lead off the 9th. Sox up 6-2.
If you look in the box score tomorrow and you didn't see the game, you'll be kicking yourself saying, how did I not see that? But it was a strange outing. It didn't start off as an absolute dominant performance, but it's sure finished that way.
Boy, did it. Like a freight train.
8 out of 9.
He struck out 3 men in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, 3 in the 8th. He wanted, as you said, that 8th inning. That was a statement inning.
Yeah, that's pretty emphatic, too. He's like, hey, wait a minute. I think I should go back out there. I want to save the bullpen. And then you blow 3 guys away.
Vasquez 0 for 2 with a walk as he rolls that one past first base. The crowd on hand here in Atlanta is chanting Poppy, Poppy. They want to see David Ortiz bat again.
Yeah.
But he is not rising up, and Chris Young has come to the on-deck area and would hit for Price here in the 9th inning. And the 1-2 hammer. That one over third, fair ball down the line. Vasquez taken out for second. It's going to keep on bouncing down into that corner. He's got himself a double for the 2nd night in a row.
That is a pretty impressive chant out of the fans here. I know there's a ton of Red Sox fans. We want Poppy. As you look at Vasquez's base hit, takes that sinking, riding fastball in the inner half and just drills it right down that line for a double.
Sox with their 8th hit of the game, leading it 6-2. And now Young is being announced, and the fans are not thrilled. They wanted to see Big Papi here.
He's just chilling on the bench right now. But it's impressive to hear the entire stadium go through a chant like that. We're not at home.
That's absolutely true. When you come out on the road and you hear that. So Young will take one outside for ball 1.
Think Petey will give up one of his at-bats to let Papi go up there?
I think you've got the wrong guy. Nobody out. Vasquez at second. And that's a ball. So Young hitting for Price, who has equaled on this night his career high in strikeouts with 14. Did it over 8 innings tonight, allowing 6 hits. It just got better and tougher as the game went along. And it's hard to imagine there was a point tonight where John Farrell was actually on the bullpen horn.
In the 4th. Now, speaking of John Farrell, you know, sentimentally and celebration wise, he would love to have Papi in this game somewhere. But at the same time, if he hits in this game, you got to find a place to put him defensively or somewhere. And this is a 6-2 game. It's not 10-2.
This could be a tough chance. Freeman down the line, and that one's going to drop in. Vasquez had to wait into second as Young. He'll have a double, and Vasquez down to third. So back-to-back doubles for the Sox here in the 9th inning.
You know, being sentimental and falling to the wave of celebration doesn't necessarily get you wins, and you got to win as a manager. That's just a pop-up down the right field line, but hustling down that line is Young. As soon as he sees it drops, he's into second base.
So the Red Sox can put this one, you would think, with this Atlanta offense completely out of reach here. If Mookie Betts can rifle one through, the infield is in. He had to hit his last time up. A single. He's 1 for 4. Nobody out here in the 9th inning. And in for a strike. Tommy Lane throwing in the Sox pen. Mookie's hit safely in 7 straight. That one snagged by the pitcher. He'll go to first base. The runners will stay put. So no advance there. 1 man out. And here comes Dustin Pedroia. Opportunity to drive in a pair of runs. He has already scored twice tonight.
Here's one of the reasons why the Red Sox are ahead in this game. The outstanding opposite field hitting. That was a tough slider away from Petey. Down and away. He goes with it. And that's the calling card for Bogey. Look at that. That was nasty too. Neither one of those pitches were bad pitches. And both Red Sox hitters made him pay for it.
Breaking ball in for a strike. Bogaerts has 3 hits. He's 3 for 4. Pedroia hitting .310.
It's not fun when you're a pitcher out there and you're making decent pitches. I'm not saying that those things were nasty, but they were decent pitches, and they got spoiled for base hits and doubles.
Some very impressive swings tonight for the Sox. Total of 9 hits, 6 runs.
Shaw had one.
Oh, did he? First inning, 418 feet, 3-run blast. And the Sox grabbed a quick 4-0 lead. There's a high pop-up into shallow center. Ibar ranging out. That one's going to drop in. Here comes Vasquez in to score, and the Sox are on the board again. That makes it 7-2. So not hard hit, but it finds a spot. It's an RBI for Dustin Pedroia.
Now, Drew Stubbs used to have elite speed. We saw Brock Holt drop a ball in front of him, and now this blooper. This is a ball. Petey's happy as heck about it that it dropped, but this is a ball that should be caught in a major league outfield.
Young had to hold at second base. So it's first and second, one down, and Xander Bogaerts could really open this thing up now. Red Sox ahead by 5. He has 2 singles and a double. A stolen base. He's actually stolen 2 bases tonight.
Yep.
And he has driven in 1. And the breaking ball settles in for strike 1. First and second, one down. Here in the top half of the 9th inning. It's been a very nice night all the way around for the Red Sox. Check swing and a strike over the inside corner. Xander wants clarification on that, but it was a called strike. Light and Lane are going side by side in the Sox bullpen. David Price is done. 14 strikeouts tonight for the ace left-hander. And the 0-2.
Felt a little bit bad for Pat Light.
2016 CVS Health Charity Classic features more than the nation's best golfers. Don't miss Grammy Award-winning Lady Antebellum at Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence, June 28th. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com/Charity Classic Fenway. And a 1-2. Got a piece, little dribbler foul.
Now, speaking about Pat Light, when he got called up in Houston, his parents flew in to see the possible debut, and he didn't get in that game, unfortunately, but his parents got to show up, see him in a major league ballpark. Kind of not the same as watching your son get to pitch in a game, but that'll happen soon, I'm sure.
Still got to be a thrill and a half.
Sure. Might be feeling a little lonely out there in the bullpen there, just hanging out. The only one that might work.
2 on, 1 out, and a 1-2 to Xander Bogaerts. Did you know that Nesson is on Instagram? Be sure to follow us to keep up with all things Red Sox. Visit Instagram.com/Nesson and follow now. Red Sox heading home to open up a 5-game homestand against these Braves tomorrow night. On the infield, Ibar backs up with a good hop into second, 1 onto first. They will not turn 2. Young safely into third base, and Bogaerts becomes the runner at first base, and that'll send up Travis Shaw, who already has 3 RBIs tonight. 2 down here in the 9th.
You remember in yesterday's ball game when they had a little double play ball and Shaw kind of just whiffed on it at first base. He told me the ball cut on him a little bit, but he said, I stretched way too soon. And then this was the scene in the dugout afterwards with Pedroia in his face a little bit. Pedroia had made the throw to him that he just absolutely butchered. I asked him what he said. He said, Petey told me, you want me to take some off next time? Make it easier for you?
That makes sense. There's a shot drilled high and deep into the alley, carrying way back there toward the wall. It's going to be up against the fence. 2 more runs are in. And it's a big, big night for Travis Shaw, who has driven in 5 runs for the Boston Red Sox, who blow this thing open. Now on top 9-2.
After Shaw's first at bat in that mammoth home run, it almost felt like Shaw's night was going south on him. He didn't have as good at bats, but he comes up in this one, drills another one, and ends up with 5 RBIs on the night. This ball easily into the gap up against the wall, and everybody comes home to score.
It is a career high 5 RBIs for Travis. Pretty good bookend night. The 3-run home in the first inning, 2-run double in the 9th inning. And this one turning into a laugher here for the Red Sox. Hanley would like to start giggling a bit, and he hits one high and deep to right, sailing for the corner. Markakis on the run. He can't get it. It's off the fence. Shaw is in, and it's an RBI for Hanley with a double. And the Red Sox get to 10 runs, now 10-2.
All right, that's the third time tonight Hanley has driven the ball deep to right field. Finally got one to drop in for him. It's hard to hit a ball that far. Watch how far this ball travels into the strike zone before he blasts it out of there.
Season high in runs for the Red Sox, Steve.
Yeah. 10 runs, 12 hits. The old 10-hit rule. 10 hits, you should win.
Here's Jackie Bradley. He does not have a hit tonight, but he was hit by a pitch in the first inning. He came in to score. Sox got 4 in the first. They have 4 more here in the 9th inning.
It's that old adage, when a team comes to town and they beat up on you a little bit, all they want you to do is get out of town. The bad part is the Braves are going to get the Red Sox out of town. Unfortunately, the Braves are going to come to Boston.
Got to see him again.
All over.
Right away.
Make the bad man go away.
And David Price, just in case you're joining us right now, had an amazing night. He's no longer pitching, but he went 8 innings and he struck out 14. There's a shot. That one hammered. On the move, Stubbs. He can't get it. That bounces to the wall. The run is in. Here goes Jackie hurtling toward third. He's got himself a triple. Everybody hitting tonight. The Red Sox lead it 11-2. That is the 5th extra base hit here in the 9th inning for the Red Sox.
You know, it's like we talked about too. Outside of Shaw's home run, this is a team that just blows the walls down. They go great gap-to-gap power. Everybody has doubles power. You will see home run power out of this team before the season's over, but I'm absolutely fine watching what I see here. It's a very hittable ball, mislocation badly, right out over the middle of the plate. Bradley knows what to do with it. It's the exact same swing we saw of his home run yesterday. He just caught the ball out in front a little bit more yesterday and pulled it. That one got a little deeper and he drove it into right center.
13 Red Sox hits in this inning. 4 doubles and a triple now by Jackie Bradley. As Jackie picks up his 8th RBI. Now Brock Holt becomes the 9th Red Sox hitter here in the 9th. He's gone 1 for 4. He had an extra base hit, an RBI double in the first inning. By the way, this is the most strikeouts by a Red Sox starter, the 14 by Price, since John Lester had 15 in May of 2014. Oh, it is nice to have a real ace, doesn't it? Feel good?
Well, it's also nice to have what you said we were going to have today. Although I think you said 14 runs. Be nice to score a 14-run game.
I was musing about that before the game because you kind of felt like the way the Red Sox have been swinging the bats that a blowout like this
was due.
And it has happened tonight.
A lot of smiles on the bench right there.
The 2-1. 3 balls and a strike on Brock Holt. The man who started it, Christian Vasquez, is on deck. He doubled. And he has scored already in this inning. Runner at third. And a slicer foul back out of play.
You know, Dave, I know winning makes a big difference, but boy, this team basically the same record as they had last year, almost up to this point. But this team is delightful to be around. It wasn't always that way last season.
You and I were talking with a couple of Red Sox last night after the game about that feeling, that coming together feeling. Ground ball to short, and it's a tight group. Ibar on target. It's a team that likes each other. Like each other a lot right now. 11-2 as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning in Atlanta. Last half of the ninth inning, 11-2. The Red Sox have a huge lead. David Price has been a big part of the story, obviously, but there's always something to see when you come to a major league game. And you're about to see the major league debut of this young man, Pat Light, whose parents are in the stands right now, the 25-year-old from New Jersey. And we just took a shot of his parents as they're obviously hanging around to watch the end of this game and to see their son with this moment of a lifetime. And Drew Stubbs will get in the box. He has gone 1 for 2 with a single and a walk and a strikeout in this one. Light, a hard thrower, firing inside for ball 1.
Yes, he is a hard thrower. He can light it up. Pardon the pun. Goodness, wasn't even trying.
And a 1-0. And a ground ball up the middle. That's going to squeak through for a base hit. Just the 7th hit for the Atlanta Braves in this one. This Red Sox Braves series brought to you by Jeep, the most awarded SUV lineup ever. We look at tomorrow's pitching matchup, and as mentioned, the Red Sox should really get things rolling here because Stephen Wright's been golden with a 1.40 ERA.
And Bud Norris has seen his struggles as well, so could be a good matchup.
Here's Eric Ibar. He has gone 1 for 3 with a single. Fastball at 97 popping that mid.
Get that first hitter out of the way. Even though it was a base hit, you can settle in, take a deep breath, and start to pitch now. I'm in the big leagues.
Patrick James Light. And a line drive toward the alley in left center field. Scooped up by Jackie Bradley. The runner will advance to third base. Stubbs will be safely there. And Ibar with a base hit. His second hit of this one. That was a star at Monmouth University. Set a single season school record in 2012 for strikeouts. Always been a big strikeout guy. And Alex Smith will step in next. He pinch hits in the 9 slot for Atlanta. The Red Sox leading 11-2. Well, that one a little bit high. Brings Vasquez out of the crouch, and I think this is a good idea for Hanley Ramirez to come over and calm down Pat Light a little bit. He is amped up in his major league debut.
Well, we talked about Pat Light and his parents flying into Houston to hopefully see his major league debut. We understand they are here as well. We're efforting to find to find out where they're seated. We hope they didn't go home early.
The 1-0 pitch. The 2-0. And he missed with that one at 96. The 3-0. And he walked him, and that's going to load up the bases. So 2 singles and a ball 4, and they're all filled up for Nick Markakis. And Farrell giving the youngster an opportunity here tonight on the heels of what David Price did. 8 innings, 14 strikeouts to tie a career high. As the night rolled along, he became more and more dominating and struck out. Of the last 9 outs he got, he struck out 8 men.
Unbelievable. Complete dominance right there. And you can have a dominating performance without striking out that many guys, but goodness.
Markakis is 0 for 4. He's flied out twice, struck out once, and grounded to second. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Light's one issue. We know he throws hard. Every pitch he's thrown up there's been 96 plus. Is his wildness. Has always been a problem for him. Got to be able to harness that power.
Now Tommy Lane is all warmed up if needed. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Markakis, and that's a ball. So the count 2-0. Stubbs at third, Ibar at second, and Smith at first for Atlanta. And he fires in a strike at 97. With a win, the Red Sox would improve to 11-9. The Braves would fall to 4-16. And they will meet again tomorrow night at Fenway. In for a called strike. The Red Sox have made one defensive change. Rutledge is now in the game at second base for Dustin Pedroia.
Light needs a nice one hopper to Rutledge right here for a double play.
Chopper to third instead. Shaw will fire onto first base and concede that run. Out number one. As Stubbs scores and make it 11-3. So Markakis will pick up the RBI. And that'll send up Castro, the second baseman, made a wonderful play in this game. Back when it was pretty close. A sliding catch out in the outfield in right center field, which he bobbled initially. It popped out of his glove, and then he reached back behind him while sliding toward the right fielder and snagged it out of the air before it touched the grass. And then he turned it into a double play.
Excellent play, much to the dismay of Mookie Betts.
Ground ball to Bogarts, and another run coming in to score, but that's out number two. Ibar touching home plate to make it 11-4. So the Braves are down to their last man here. So two away in the bottom of the ninth inning, 11-4 Boston. On a night where the Red Sox have dominated, not just with David Price, but with the bats too.
Oh yeah. Well, it has been fun all season long watching these guys swing the bats. It's a relentless lineup right now.
Here's Garcia, and Light trying to end it on him tonight. Red Sox 1 out away from wrapping up this road trip at 4-1. They're going to be very, very happy about that. Heading back to Fenway. High chop on the infield. Shaw on target, and that's the ball game. The Red Sox win it by a final score of 11-4. Price was sensational tonight with 14 strikeouts. Travis Shaw driving in 5 runs. And TC 4-1 sounds like a very sweet road trip heading back to Fenway Park tomorrow night.